When the folks at the National Sewing Circle asked me to come up with my 5 top tools that I felt every sewer needs to have, that was quite a challenge, because that's like going into Baskin-Robbins and saying pick one when you like them all. There's so many wonderful tools out there that make our job easy, and I like to have them all in my toolbox. But narrow it down I did, and here are my top 5. Number 1, scissors. That's my number 1 tool. Everybody needs a good pair of scissors. I'm not talking the cheap ones you find in some of the sewing stores. I'm talking a very good pair of shears. Pay the extra money. Don't scrimp. They are worth every penny. But I really had a hard time picking just one pair of scissors, because I think you need multiple ones. You've got to have a really good pair of small scissors for trimming your seams, for clipping circles, for doing all kinds of things, for appliques. So I want a good little pair of scissors to go with it. And then, of course, I can't live without my nips. My little nips are the best thing ever for ripping out seams, for trimming threads at the sewing machine. Those are my favorite scissors of all time. That's not to say I don't own other pairs. These are just my favorites. Okay, I can only pick one. Hands down, it's the shears. Get yourself a good pair of shears. Next on my list, after scissors, my number 2 top tool would be glass-headed pins. I love glass-headed pins. They're fine. You can get them in a very long length. The longer the better in my mind. I like these nice long ones. Their head's a little hard to see sometimes, but the joy of the glass-headed pin is that it doesn't melt. When you go over to the iron, even with a steam-generated iron, like I have to use as a professional seamstress, these babies don't melt. They're sharp, they're thin, they're wonderful. Glass-headed pins takes number 2 on the list. Next on the list is an acrylic ruler, 24-inch. I am a quilter, so I have to have my long ruler, but I use this a lot in sewing. I use it particularly when I'm getting the straight of grain and I'm measuring the lines on the pattern out to the edge of the fabric. The 24-inch ruler lets me measure longer, wider widths of fabric for that straight of grain. It also is a nice wide ruler that isn't going to distort like a yardstick does. I just find a lot of different uses for it. I use it to make sure, for instance, my pockets and cuffs are nice and square, and the grid is just wonderful, and being able to see through it is a godsend. So even though you're a sewer, get yourself a 24 by 6 inch acrylic ruler. Number 4 on the list, well, I cannot live without a good steam iron. There is nothing like a good shot of steam to forgive a lot of problems in our sewing, to take out puckers, to take out wrinkles, to really give a professional finish to whatever we're making, whether it's home dec or garment sewing or quilting. I personally own a steam generator iron, which I love because I don't have to refill it as often. It can go literally all day long, and I always have steam available. I'm hooked on it. Number 4 on my list. And finally, the last tool, oh, it was a tough choice, but it finally came down to the point turner. This little plastic tool, I've had it literally since I was in high school and was taking tailoring classes. The point turner, it's got a little handy ruler on it, but I don't use it so much for that. I use it for this point, and it does exactly what it says. It helps me get professional results and get nice square corners on collars, cuffs, pockets, flaps, pillows, Anything that you turn that has a corner, this is the tool to help you. It also can reach into those tight spots that you can't get to with your hand. So bringing up the rear is number 5, the point turner. So I hope that gives you some inspiration, especially if you're just starting out your sewing toolbox, of what I feel are the most important tools that you need as a sewer to have at the ready to make your life a lot easier.